Hello everyone, good evening.
Hello, Jyoti. Great.
Hi everyone, we can get started. Yeah. So I think last week we have discussed about the web API calls within the JavaScript, and I think we have gone through the one example of how to retrieve a particular record, and also I think we also saw the on change event, and as well as how we will debug the JavaScript, right? So, if everybody is with me, or anybody needs just a recap of what we have gone through on that day. If not, we can just go ahead with the next topics. Okay, I hope everybody is with me. And I'm thinking that everybody is trying the whatever the examples that we have in the Microsoft documentation, which is very helpful for your practice. So please try them. And today we will be starting with the XRM Web API calls only. So let me share my screen. Okay. Okay. First, let me open the JavaScript web resource that we have created. Okay, last time we have seen in the last session, we have seen what is the XRM router web API. That is a API which is present in a Dynamics client-side API, I could say. Client-side API which is present in the Dynamics 365. And also, this is they have introduced with the version 9.0 only. Before that, we used to have XML HTTP request, which is present now also. But the recommendation from the Microsoft team is to use this XRM.web API call only instead of XML HTTP request. Okay, so that is the old one. Whatever the existing scripts are using that XML HTTP request, that is okay, it will work. But whatever the new web resource that are going to be created, it's better to use the XRM Web API calls only. Okay, so this is about the Web API. So it started from the version 9.0 only. Before that, it was not there. Okay, and also I mentioned it's an asynchronous based call, promise based call. So I shown you how why it is asynchronous. And also I did mention that in the next session we can see how to make that as a synchronous, because it's not like always we will be in some cases we might need the output of that value so that we can check something else in the next step. So if you won't make that as a synchronous, which is nothing but I need a output right away instead of just completing all other tasks before just executing my task, whatever the API call that is having. So then what will happen, whatever the next conditions are having might fail because here my output is not yet ready. So in such scenarios, I can put the synchronous, making this web API, which is asynchronous, I can make it as a synchronous. That also we can see today. But before that, I'll show you sorry, I'll show you the remaining CRUD operations also. The on that day we have seen only retrieve operation. So I think only retrieve only we have saw right on that day. So today we'll be going with the create, update, delete, and retrieve multiple also we can see today. Okay, let it. Same thing. We just saw how to just retrieve a single record. And on that day, we have saw like how to get a related customer registration record and the details from that particular record. Like we are on a different entity. Let me check. LIT. Students. Okay, I think this one we have solved. Like once we go into that customer registration form, uh, whatever the value, the email address of this customer registration,
ఆన్లైన్ లో బుక్ చేయను
we will get the, I mean, we were fetching the email address and that we saw the alert as well. Okay, right now we don't have any value here. Okay, today we'll be seeing how to create a new record with using a xrm.webAPI call. Okay, let's just create one more method here. Okay, here is the file add xrm.webAPI dot create record. And what is the record that I want to create? That logical name I should select here. So, for example, here, whenever I'm checking the email address of this one here, I'll be creating one when record with these details. So let's suppose say first let me see what is the lo lo logical name of this entity. That is LUIT event bookings. Okay, first I'll be providing that here. And then we have to provide the data, like what are all the details that you're going to insert. Like for example, while creating the case, we might need some fields, right? We have to add them as well. Before that, let me show you that syntax so that it will be easy for you to understand what I'm going to implement. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, and xrm.webapi.create record. And here you can see the entity logical name and data. So here the data is a JSON object which have the values of the fields that we want to provide. So here you can see this way we can provide the values of our record, newly created record. So here I have this, let me get the logical name for them. So I should provide these values. These two are the like event name is only the required field. So for now, I'll just provide the value for the event name only. If we want, we can add the remaining one as well. First, we can see this only. So what I'll do, where data to be added equals to what is the schema name, logical name of my field, and the value of for that one is test event. Okay, if I want to provide multiple values, then I can just add comma here, and then I can just mention the logical name of the field and then value of it. And once we are done with it, we can provide that variable here, data to be added. Okay, dot then what we have discussed. So right now, like the old way of doing is like using the function directly writing, manually writing the function, but here we will be using a arrow function, which is the latest one. So here what I'm doing, result dot then result, and I'm using arrow function here. Okay, dot then, and once I'm having the result, what I should do, whatever the record that I had created, I will be getting the value ID of that record. Created record result dot ID. Okay, but now I'm just having this one. We don't get even for extension to get it that and do not result dot ID. So first I'll just add this in the web resource, and then we'll see how it will look like. Only this part I'm checking, or else just let me get the entire thing here, and we'll see how it will work. Okay, we already added our on save event handler on the form editor, so I don't have to add anything here, but just to check whether that is present or not, I'm just opening that one. Even okay. On save, it's already present, so I'm not doing anything here, and then I'll be publishing this one. Okay, let's see. Let's trigger the on save event, and we'll see how that alert will be looking like. And event type, I'll save it. And address of registered customer is null because I don't have any map. So that is fine. And I'm expecting a new event grouping. Okay, so let's debug what is happening. So what we have to do first, we have to open the developer tools using Control Shift I, or you can just select these three vertical dots and then tools, and from here more tools and then developer tools. This is one way, otherwise the shortcut is, the command is Control Shift I. And once you open it, we have this uh, navigation bar or something like that. So here you should select the sources. And before that, if it is not opening that way, you have to select the Control P, and then you'll get the sources, and from here to open the file you should enter the Control P, and then you have to select your file name here. That way I can debug the file. So what is our file name here? Customer registration events. And here, this is the one that I have added, and I want to see why my event booking record didn't get created. Okay, so what is the trigger for this one? I have added my this event on save. So I am going to just make some change here and I'm saving it, and it got triggered. Let me just minimize this one so that it's easy to see. Okay, it came XRM.web, and then without it is going into inside, it went to the next step as it is a asynchronous, and then it came to XRM.web API. There also it went inside, and then it came to here. Email address registered customer Anna. Okay, and then it actually should come there, but it is not coming. Entity LUIT event bookings cannot be found. So I think it should be not plural. Sorry. Event.
అమ్మ కాసాల కూర్చుని వర్షిస్తుంది అదిగో మళ్ళీ వెళ్ళిపోతాడు అటు అబ్బా అబ్బా అబ్బా
Okay, let me refresh it again.
బాబా పిల్లలిద్దరు ఎక్కడ ఉన్నారు
Okay, let me change this again. Save and update it. Okay, and
ఉన్నాయి
still not there.
మరగండి ఈ బాటలో వస్తుందా ఈ బాటలు మారుతారా
Anyways. Save. Okay. Created record with ID came, right? I think it might not have been updated properly. So now it got updated and you can see created record. Okay. So this is the example for the create record. What we have to do here, we just have to provide the a logical name of the entity and also what is the data you want to provide while creating the record. Okay. So once you are done with the creation, whatever the logic that you want to apply, you can add here. Okay, the next thing, from here itself, I'll add one point here so that I can show how to change this asynchronous call to synchronous call. For example, here I'm getting the, wait a minute, first I'll see what are the details that we have. So I'm creating event bookings and we don't have, I think. Okay, I'll just add if this result dot email address from this customer registration contains the data, then only create the record. Okay, I'll just first store my value in somewhere where email. And then to this, I'll be adding this to this. Okay. So now what I have to do, I'll be checking this value if it is present. If customer email not equals to null, then only create this record. Okay. Okay, then only create the record. Otherwise, don't create it. So first, let me update this into the web resource.
లోపల మామూలండి బంగారం తగ్గించరా ఎడవా
Now we'll see. I'll open the record which has the email address. Event bookings I should open, right? So here I'll open this one only, which has the see numbers. Okay, it has, I mean, it doesn't have any value. As the value, then only create the record. Okay, then I'll just provide one. Okay, so okay, so now I'll just change it and we'll save the record. That should get created event booking. Previous one is test event, so it should create another one as per our condition. And let's open again this one and we'll check now what is happening in the code. Okay. Okay, now let's just trigger the event. For the first time, it actually just went. Okay, you can check the steps here, how it is in executing line by line. So it came once it went to the 48, it came to the 52 and then 56. And now it is checking for the customer email, which doesn't have any value. See here, customer email is equals to undefined. But when we saw the email address of this customer registration record, it already having the value, but here it is still coming as undefined. So due to that, it is not going into this condition anymore. So once I'm done with this one asynchronous call, it is coming again. Now it will have some value. If I just go to the next step, customer email is having the value now, but it will not go to this condition again. Right? It already checked, that part is already executed, so it was not able to execute this step again. because here first it came to 48 and then it went to 52, 53 and then 56. It checked for the condition and the value is null, so it didn't create the record here. So again, as it is an asynchronous, it went to the later, once the done with executing all the coding part, it went to the asynchronous call again and then it executed and then it has the value, but there is no use of it, right? Because it already checked my condition which I'm using here. So what I need here, I need my value here right away. It shouldn't be asynchronous, it should be synchronous so that I can use my value here in the condition, right? So what I should do here to make it a synchronous? So as I already mentioned, so previously we used to have XML HTTP request. So here also we have an option to make it synchronous or asynchronous. Okay. So the same way for this one also, for the new one, excuse me. So the same way here for the XRM web API also, we can make it as a, this call web API call as a synchronous using what? Async and await keywords. So first I should make my function as asynchronous, or let me show here. If I add my await means the coding executing should wait for the result of this web API call, then only move to the next line of the code. Okay, I'm just using these two keywords, async and await, so that once it came to here 48, it should execute this API call and get the value, and then only we'll go to the next part. Okay, so let me show you that output now, how it is executing. This is very, very important because most of the times what we think, we will be thinking it's not working, but we don't know why it is not working, because everything is correct. So this is the only reason that if any value that you are going to use it in the next conditions, or result of that web API call, it should always use async and await. Otherwise, it will always return null value instead of a correct result. Okay, so please make sure to correctly use the async and await wherever it is needed. If it is needed, then only use it. Otherwise, don't. Okay, now let's change this to. Oh, okay, let's see whether I have saved it right, whether the event bookings got created or not. Didn't get created. Let me open this again and Control Shift I. Customer registration events, and then a window is there. So now see how it will wait for this to be completed. Okay, let me change this to educational and save it. I got the customer ID, and you can see after 48 it came to the 49 because I need this value and I've used this await. So previously how it was working, after 48 it went directly to the 52, right? So now you can see it will go into the if call. If customer email not equals to null, then it is going inside this one. And then here I have not added a wait, so obviously it will not wait for the result. After that, it should come, alert should come. Why? I didn't change it here. Sorry. Okay, now it will get created. Okay, we can see when we check for another example so that we don't waste our time here. So this is what for the async and await, and this you can mostly will be useful with the retrieve multiple records. I mean, we can use it anywhere we want, but it will be mostly useful in the retrieve multiple record scenarios only. Okay, so we have done with the creating the record also. Now let's see how to retrieve the multiple records. So for that one, let me say one thing. So first I'll show you the syntax so that it will be easy for you to understand. The next part is retrieve multiple records. So here is the syntax. Retrieve multiple records and entity's logical name and options and max spaces. So these are like optional. First you should check what is optional and what is not here. Then provide a- Okay, so here you can see entity logical name options. Required no. Data system query options or fetch XML query to retrieve your data. And max spaces, this is also not required, it's an optional. And specify a positive number that indicates a number of table records to be returned per page. Okay, this is mostly not required because mostly we will be providing our conditions in this step itself, in the option itself, we will be filtering our data. Okay, if filter is not present, then you can mention, for example, I don't have any conditions to retrieve the details, then instead of just having any filter, I can say max page size should be 5. So what if I'm having 5 records, I mean if I'm having thousands of records, I'll it will only retrieve a 5 records only. Okay, so that is how we will be using, and here you can see they have provided some examples as well. And in the OData query, instead of this using this query, we can use the fetch XML as well. That is what they are saying. Just the entity logical name, and instead of the query, we can use the fetch XML. And I told you like how to get the fetch XML of for a particular entity, right? So for example, here you can see edit filter, and whatever the query conditions that you want to add it and just download the fetch XML. Okay, and you can use that and store it in a variable, and that you can pass it to the retrieve multiple records WebApi call. Okay, so this is how you can get, instead of just having a OData query, we can have the fetch XML as well. Okay, so this way we have multiple scenarios here. And this is how the filter looks like, or data query looks like. Then select. So I already mentioned select we use to fetch, like mention what are the columns you want to fetch from this entity. So here it is name, primary contact ID, value. Okay, and then what is the filter on which criteria I should be fetching these account records. So filter is primary contact ID equals to this ID, then only retrieve the result. So they are hard coding the value of the primary contact ID. Okay, we'll see how we'll be using that one. And remember, we are retrieving the multiple records, not a single one. So previously it is a single one, and here you can see how we are getting the value of a single record. Here, the result, and then directly I have fetched this value, LUIT email address, email address. So because here I'm only having one record, so I can get it directly. But what if I'm having a multiple records? How we will be fetching them? So that we can see here. Now, before that, let me get the fetch XML for something here. The OData query also I'll show, and this fetch XML query also I'll show. Both the scenarios we can check. Um, so I'm in event bookings, and I want to get the customer registration, whatever is present in the system. I'll just download this. Just status is equals to active. That is the only condition I'm having, because I have only 6 records present. I have only 6 records present in the system, so I'm not caring about any other conditions. Okay, just copy this one. I think we have to change something before that directly using it here. Let's see. think it will be this way. Or it's taken. So I'm just using it as a string, so I should modify it accordingly. Let's see whether it works or not. And then I'll use my retrieve multiple records syntax. XLM dot WebApi dot retrieve multiple records. Retrieve multiple records. And syntax is what is the entity that I want to retrieve. What I'm retrieving here is customer registrations. Let me get the logical name of it. Um, Test. Okay, and then results I can say because I'm having a multiple, will get a multiple values. And for now, I'm not doing anything because you'll not, I mean, this is our first time we are showing it, so we'll not know what will be the results will look like. So I'm just saying, results section or something like that, just an alert that we are here. Okay, I'm not using the values that we are getting from this step. I'm just saying just the alert I'm using. So once we saw, we'll see how the values looks like, the results looks like, then we can use it, use those values here. Okay, let me just copy this again. Now go back to the event. And this is on our say create okay, let me do it again whether it's not updated or not. Created record. Okay, let's debug now. Start registration events. No, it didn't get updated, you see. Our code is not present. Here it is there, so let me publish it again. And okay, see now. Yes, then not registration. Now it's there. Now it's there. We'll see how the results looks like. Okay, save. And we are here as it is asynchronous. Obviously, it will come out of that call and it will come back again. Let's see. Okay. I think there is an error. Option pyramid. Okay. What's the section? Okay, what's this one? Let me copy it from here. The page XML equals. Okay. Let me see whether it got updated or not. Okay. No, I think it's XML class is not well format XML. Okay, fine. Let me use the normal. Let me use the normal OData query. I think I'll look into it like how we can format this fetch XML because it's not well formatted, it seems. I don't know what to change here. So for now, I'm not using this fetch XML. Maybe in tomorrow's class, I can show you how we can format the fetch XML that we have got from the CRM. And for now, I'll just use the options one only where we should use the fetch XML, sorry, OData query to fetch the multiple values. Okay, this is how it's done. This select, and on the customer registration, what are all the columns that I want to fetch? First, I get the customer name, LIP email. Okay, and yeah, if I want to just restrict how many I want to get, then I can just use top 3 records or 4 records that I can mention if I want. Otherwise, we can just ignore it. I'll just say 5 because we have 6. I'm just getting 5 here. And these options I can use it here. Okay. Now let's use this one. Which should work now. So every time we make some change, we should publish it. So that is the difficult part here because it will just take some time. Okay, I should be on event meetings and see how many test events got created. Oh, sorry, I was not on any specific. So let's see here. I was on grid. I'm on grid, and here you can see my JS is not visible here because it's not actually registered on this grid level, right? So that is the reason you're not seeing it. So you should add any record, and now you search for it and you'll see it. So here you can option again, right? Yeah. On here and WebApi call. Create record find. Oh, you again error. Query parameter that is not supported. Oh, sorry. Here it should be $sign. Right? Okay. So whenever we have error in our query, this is the error that we get. The query parameter redactor is not supported. Okay. We can simply go to the OData query and we can see what is the error. Let's check it and see. Array, what is happening? Still. Hey, sorry, I'm not providing this as properly. I don't know what is happening. Select the dollar sign is there and LAT customer name, come LAT email, and this logical name is correct only, right? LUIT. No, this is event booking. LUIT email, LUIT customer name, and this is just I have provided here. And then top 5. Topic equals to 5. Sorry guys, I don't know why it's failing. Let me try for one more time. Didn't get updated. Let me refresh it again. Yeah, finally it came. So I think I have not, I think I have given extra space here. So if I remove it, it is working fine. Okay, now it finally came to the result section, and here you can see I have not added any results like how we'll be getting the values from this, because here I am only fetching two values, that is email and customer name. So it's not like I can directly use results dot customer name. So why? I can show you now. So this is the results variable that I have got as part of this web API call. And here's you can see inside the results, we have one more thing, that is entities. Results dot entities, and inside entities, how many records? Entities nothing but the records, right, for this customer registration. So how many we have got? Five. Array of five we have got. So if you want to fetch the details of it, then you have to go this way. Results dot entities of 0 dot whatever the value you want to fetch it. Okay, so to get the all the values from the each record, then we can use the loop. Otherwise, if you know, I mean, in most of the scenarios, we don't know like how many. Here we have directly used top five, so we are sure that we will get a five record. So based on that, we can just mention which record data we want to fetch. But in most of the scenarios, in retrieve multiple, we'll not use how many we want to fetch. Based on the some filtration, we will be getting the value. So we'll not know how many we will be having. So it's best to use the for loop only. For this, how many entities we have here? Five. So how many we have, that much we will be getting inside the for loop only. So now you saw how the results are coming here. Result dot entities of 0 dot whatever the value we want to get. So the same way we'll be getting for the remaining records as well. So this is how it actually fetch the value. So now let's see how we'll be using the for loop to get the values. For now, I'll just show the customer name in the alert. So I'll just use for each loop instead of for loop. Yes, I'm not sure. For each. Okay, let's go with this one. I'm not sure about this arrow function, so I'm not going with this one. For each var result of results. We can go with the normal for loop. Otherwise, let me go this way. So the normal one we know, right? It will be like this for I equals to 0 and I is less than results dot entities, because we have this, right? Result dot entities. So how much is the length? Those many times it can loop, and I plus plus. So this is the one way we can go this way. Otherwise, I can. So this is the old way of using it. So I'm just using the for each loop. So let me go this way. Results dot entities dot for each. For each customer account. Okay, now what I want to get it. Registered customer dot customer name. Let me see how I'm having the value here. LUID customer name, right? So I'm just copying this one here, and that is what I'm providing here. Registered customer for each. Okay. Go with this one. Let this not element dot LID customer name. Okay. So while opening the developer tools, we can't publish this one. So you should always close this before you update your code and publish it in the web resource. Ah, sorry. This one section it came in said actually what we are doing. Customer is it didn't get updated. See, we should just refresh it again. Let's see. It's really an error or not. It's an error. Sorry. Not a correct way of using the for each that much I know. Let me just go with the normal for loop only. Okay, this time it will work. Let me. Now you can see the results. 5 I have fetched, and you can see 5 records here. 5. Okay. So what I have used here, I'm just fetching the top 5 records of our customer registration. And the query I just passed here is these are the two values that I want to fetch from this customer registration entity and top 5 records. And here for each, I'll see like what is the syntax to use it. And this for loop, you can use it, but mostly to be updated with the newer things. So it's always better to avoid the normal for loop. So I'll let you know how we can use the for each loop tomorrow. And also the two more events that API calls that we have missed is update and delete, that we can check tomorrow along with the other advanced options in the JS. So maybe tomorrow we can conclude the JS part. Okay, but today, I think these are enough, like async and divide, and also this retrieve multiple records and create record thing. Please let me know if you have any questions, anybody. Hello, guys. Any questions? Okay, if not, we can just wrap up this call. Thank you, everybody.